US President Donald Trump made a new statement regarding the resolution of the Russia-Ukraine war.
We have resolved 7 wars. We are close to resolving the 8th. I think we will resolve the situation with Russia.
The American leader noted that ending Russia's war against Ukraine may prove to be more difficult than achieving peace in the Middle East. According to Trump, an agreement to establish peace in the Middle East is already nearing conclusion. On his social media, Trump wrote that Israel and Hamas have signed the first phase of the peace plan.
The first step toward a strong, lasting, and eternal peace. All parties will absolutely be placed on completely equal terms.
According to the US president, this absolutely means that all hostages will be released very, very soon, and Israel will withdraw its troops to the agreed-upon line as a crucial first step toward a lasting, long-term, and enduring peace. In an interview with Fox News, Trump clarified that the hostage exchange will likely take place on Monday, October 13th. He added that he might travel to the Middle East at the end of the week, possibly on Sunday. Hamas in turn confirmed that a deal had been reached and noted that it highly values the efforts of the brotherly mediators in Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey, as well as the efforts of US President Donald Trump.
We announce the achievement of an agreement that entails a cessation of the war in the Gaza Strip, the withdrawal of occupying forces, the delivery of humanitarian aid, and a prisoner exchange.
Also, according to media reports, Trump guarantees an end to the war and initially the withdrawal of 70% of Israeli troops from the Gaza Strip, to be followed by a complete withdrawal. An unnamed US official told Axios that the war in Gaza is over. The hostages will all be fully released 72 hours after the Israeli cabinet officially approves the proposed agreement.
Announcer, the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, made a statement about the possible transfer of Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine.
Volodymyr Zelensky, I did not receive a refusal from Trump regarding the sale of Tomahawk missiles. The United States will work on this issue at the technical level.
Announcer. In a comment to journalists, the Ukrainian leader noted that he had raised this issue back during the administration of President Joe Biden, but at that time it was refused.
Volodymyr Zelensky, this is now an important signal, strengthening Ukraine by all possible means. And one of the important ones is the Tomahawks. Such things can strengthen Ukraine and force the Russians to sober up and sit down at the negotiating table.
Announcer, the president also spoke about the successes in the use of Ukrainian long-range weaponry. Yes, thanks to the use, for example, of the Palyanitsia missile drone, the armed forces of Ukraine have begun striking dozens of military depots on Russian territory. According to Zelensky, a second positive result was recorded thanks to the use of the Ruta missile drone, when, for the first time, it managed to strike an offshore platform at a distance of over 250 kilometers.
Volodymyr Zelensky, the greatest success was Lyuty and Firepoint. There was a massive deployment of up to 300 units, and this was a serious operation. We understand that Ust-Luga and Primorsk are within reach. What happened is truly a great success.
Announcer. At the same time, as the president emphasized, according to Ukrainian data, the enemy's gasoline shortage amounts to up to 20% of their needs. In the past week, Kyiv has deployed a couple of Neptune and Flamingo.
Volodymyr Zelensky, the corresponding results can be analyzed independently. We are not saying that this pair is being used on a massive scale. We're simply saying that it is being used, and there are already the first tangible results from this particular weapon of ours.
Announcer. Publication Welt writes that Ukraine used 3 Flamingo cruise missiles during a strike on a Russian intelligence base in occupied Crimea. According to the publication, 2 missiles hit the target while another fell about 100 meters away from it. The explosion created craters at the site with diameters of up to 15 meters.
Turkey may significantly reduce its consumption of Russian gas. According to Reuters, by the end of 2028, the country plans to meet more than half of its gas needs through increased domestic production and greater imports from the United States. For Russian and Iranian suppliers, this threatens a reduction in purchases. The article notes that US President Donald Trump is publicly pressuring allies, including Turkey, to reduce their energy ties with Moscow and Tehran. For example, during a meeting with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan at the White House, Trump urged him to abandon Russian energy resources. A focus on domestic gas production will also strengthen Turkey's energy security and support its ambitions to become a regional gas hub. Analysts from the publication write, Ankara aims to re-export to Europe the imported liquefied natural gas and its own gas, while the Russian and Iranian blue fuel is planned to be consumed domestically in Turkey. Notably, Russia remains the largest gas supplier to Turkey, but its share of supplies is gradually decreasing. Meanwhile, Turkey continues to make efforts toward ending Russia's war against Ukraine. On October 7th, Turkish leader Recep Tayyip Erdogan held a telephone conversation with Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. According to the press service of the Turkish president, Erdogan stated that diplomatic initiatives must gain momentum to end the war with a just and lasting peace. He added that Turkey will continue to work towards achieving peace. It is worth noting that although Erdogan maintains diplomatic relations with Russia, he has repeatedly stated that he supports the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. On his birthday, Russian dictator Vladimir Putin visited the Peter and Paul Cathedral in St. Petersburg, which serves as the burial place of many Russian emperors and members of the imperial family. There he met with representatives of the Ministry of Defense, the General Staff, and other military officials. According to Putin, he decided to begin the meeting in the burial vault because it is where the emperors who founded Russia are buried. Putin himself described the meeting as pleasant and interesting. At the same time, the Telegram channel Kremlin Snuffbox wrote that the location of the meeting was allegedly not to the liking of the head of the Russian General Staff, Valery Gerasimov. The channel cites a source who claims that Gerasimov was reportedly not very comfortable meeting with Putin, essentially at the gravesites. He supposedly considers it a bad omen, the channel writes. The same channel claims that the Ministry of Defense called such concerns strange superstitions. And Gerasimov is allegedly worried that he might be dismissed and that several people in his circle are facing serious problems. It should be noted that the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin has long been experiencing health problems, which he carefully hides. In particular, Russian media have reported that Putin may be suffering from pancreatic and thyroid cancer and also from Parkinson's disease. Earlier, Vadim Skibitsky, deputy head of the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, stated that the Russian dictator is ill both morally and physically. At the same time, according to him, information about the Russian leader's health is being concealed.